The British Columbia Institute of Technology acknowledges that our campuses are located on the unceded traditional territories of the Coast Salish nations of Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh.
From the Broadcast Center at BCIT's Burnaby Campus, this is All Talk Radio. You're listening to 1680 The Crow.
Hello, my name is Joseph Augusti, and this is your 3:30 newscast. Thanks for tuning in. A spokesperson for mosques and Islamic associations that called for former post-secondary education minister Selena Robinson to be removed from her post says they approve of her decision to step down. Bilal Chima says Robinson is welcome to meet with members of the community to discuss the harm that her comments have caused. Robinson has been under heavy pressure for days after saying that Israel was founded on, quote, a crappy piece of land, end quote, leading to outcry from pro-Palestinian groups and others. Robinson repeatedly apologized, but Premier David Eby said her remarks were incompatible with her remaining in cabinet, although she will stay in the NDP caucus. A city councillor in Powell River is facing criticism after making a comment many have deemed to be culturally insensitive. Our reporter Sonia Kutenbrauer has more with how the local nation has responded.
Councillor Jim Paul made the comment in a January 30th council meeting, which the Tla'amin Nation says mocked and belittled their language. During discussions regarding a name change to the city, Paul used a made-up place name before directly referring to the nation. In a statement from the Tla'amin Nation released on February 5th, Hegus John Hackett referred to the comment as being wholly inappropriate. The Cathet School District, who employs Palm as a school teacher, released a statement Tuesday condemning his behavior. As of February 6th, the city has not made an official statement on the incident. The Tla'amin Nation has been in talks with the city about a name change since 2021. The name Powell River takes after BC's first Superintendent of Indian Affairs, Israel Powell. Sonia Kutenbrauer, BCIT's The Crow.
A vote between members of the Vancouver Park Board on Monday evening marked the start of legal actions against City Hall. Reporter Isaac Newson has more on the significance of the loss.
Mayor Ken Sim has maintained his stance on the dissolution of the Vancouver Park Board. The board had been elected just 14 months ago, and should the mayor's plans go through, it'll be the end of a 130-year park board history. According to the city council member Pete Fry, the absence of the board would be a huge loss for the community.
Park board has served as like the most accessible form of kind of local government, and I think a lot of folks, including the community center associations, really rely on park board. I would say most people are quite upset, and they see this as an erosion of democratic process. Commissioner
Tom Digby has requested $20,000 for legal proceedings. When asked, Digby said, quote, "We're going to get a legal opinion to tell us how viable the case is. If it's strong enough, we'll bring it before the Supreme Court." Isaac Newson, BCIT's The Crow.
The nominees for this year's Sport BC Female Coach of the Year award include Sarah Hunter, a former wheelchair tennis pro from White Rock. Our reporter Jake McGrail shares how her teaching is impacting the next generation of athletes.
Sarah Hunter watches on as Lachlan Sanford goes through his warm-up drills. Sanford, a grade 11 student from Mission, BC, gets driven to the Lower Mainland multiple times a week for training. He first picked up the sport of wheelchair tennis 5 years ago and is now a member of the Canadian National Development Program. He says being able to learn from Hunter has been a big part of his improvement.
It's impacted it immensely. I don't even know if I could put it on a meter stick and measure it. I don't know where I would be without her. She adapts to you as a player and then helps you grow from there.
Hunter offers training for players of all skill levels, from beginners to experts. Jake McGrail, BCIT's The Crow.
A BCIT expert in forests is advocating for a more controlled burns after wildfires consumed nearly 3 million hectares in BC last year. Reporter Aaliyah Andres explains why this method can help the 2024 wildfire season.
2023 has been recorded as the most destructive year for wildfires in British Columbia's history. In total, 2.8 million hectares of forest were lost due to out-of-control fires. Justin Perry is a BCIT instructor in the Forest and Natural Areas Management Program and an advocate for using controlled burns to manage the destruction of wildfires. He says that by removing dry and dead trees, it sets up the environment to be less susceptible to a blaze.
So in essence, we're just reducing the amount of fuel that is available for future fires under unfavorable conditions.
With an already warm start to the year, Perry hopes there will be an increase in controlled burns, resulting in more manageable wildfires. Aaliyah Andres, BCIT's The Crow.
Lunar New Year festivities were celebrated last week at UBC. BCIT's The Crow's Anthony Antanisov has more on how people came together to celebrate an important Chinese celebration.
The Botanical Garden hosted the Dragon as the Lunar New Year market celebrated Asian culture with a market involving a variety of cooks and storytellers. Organizer Ariel Yu did this to represent the international community, and it only made sense to celebrate Lunar New Year in the largest part of the Botanical Garden.
It's rare to have the opportunity to prepare Lunar New Year. I mean, we kind of found that there's nothing around the UBC area. People would have to go to Richmond or Chinatown.
For UBC student Kevin True, it was a chance to learn more about his culture.
Seeing how everyone represents art differently, I really enjoy it. It makes you much more comfortable, right? And it feels good to support other people that are, similar.
Lunar New Year festivities continue at UBC's The Nest on February 8th. This is Anthony Atanisov, BCIT's The Crow.
In the wake of 5 Canadian players from the 2018 World Junior team being charged with sexual assault, advocates are saying it's time for a change. Our reporter Richard Davis has more.
Melanie Zhu is a Vancouver-based women's hockey coach who grew up playing with the boys. She believes the negative aspects of hockey culture are partially caused by significant investment and holding young male hockey players up on a pedestal.
That kind of contributes a lot to it, where they feel as though they're a little bit untouchable because, from a young age they get told, oh man, you're so good, you're going to play at these high levels and blah, blah, blah. And that kind of environment is in and itself toxic.
She also said the culture of what happens in the locker room, staying in the locker room, needs to change, despite some of its benefits. Zhu is also an advocate for an external review process and pointed out how with most hockey investigations, the body investigating incidents often has a stake in the players or outcome. Richard Davis, BCIT's The Crow.
Now Richard is going to join us. Hi Richard, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me on.
Due to the charges and allegations against players on the 2018 World Juniors team, many fans have been asking what more can be done. Richard, what have you found?
Well, many people inside the sport, they believe that the culture does need to change, and one person that's been actively working to change that is actually a former Australian rugby player, Luke Bentvelsen. Now, he works with kids in Ontario and has helped to develop a program to teach young athletes about concepts like consent and other kind of positive behaviors via storytelling, and he also draws from his own personal experience serving in the Navy, playing rugby, and being an athlete.
What is the best age to teach these workshops?
Well, no, it's interesting. He says that kids younger than 16 are oftentimes more, excited to pick it up, but says that at all ages, it's been really working whenever he goes back to visit locker rooms. He can feel a difference.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you so much.
British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak says he was shocked and sad to learn that King Charles III has cancer.
Thankfully, this has been caught early, and now everyone will be wishing him that he gets the treatment that he needs and makes a full recovery.
The king will begin outpatient treatment according to Buckingham Palace. The cancer was found during recent treatment for an enlarged prostate. The cancer is not related to this condition. The king has suspended all public engagements but will continue with state business. He said his youngest son, Prince Harry, flew in from California to visit him. And now after the short break, we'll have sports.
Everything is changing to digital.
This is sports on 1680 The Crow.
The Vancouver Canucks are back in action tonight as they play the Carolina Hurricanes. The game marks the debut of Elias Lindholm, who was acquired from Calgary in a blockbuster trade that sent Andrei Kuzmenko plus other assets to the Flames. Rick Tocchet spoke to the attitude of the players coming off of a long break.
Yeah, I think hockey players would, you want to break, but then when you do, you want to play hockey. So I feel that I think guys are, they enjoyed the break, but you can tell guys are antsy to play again. So that's a good thing for us.
Vancouver is going to host 7 out of the 13 FIFA 2026 World Cup games. Our reporter Sean Park has more on how a bar owner plans to deal with increased customers.
Agostino Claudio runs a live sports bar and a cafe in Vancouver. When the game begins, he believes he can pull through with the help of his friendly community.
People here are very nice, they bring the plates to the counter, they help me wash the dishes if I need it.
Claudio says it's been tough after COVID. He looks forward to recovering from shrinking his kitchen and his long working hours.
You never know what's going to happen, but I'm planning to be here at FIFA and we'll be very excited and good business for us.
Destination BC says they can expect over 900,000 visitors to travel to BC overnight and over 5 years after. Sean Park, BCIT's The Crow.
2 major running back signings in the CFL today. The BC Lions have signed veteran William Stanback to a 1-year contract. Stanback was a member of the 2023 Grey Cup champion Montreal Alouettes and is a 2-time CFL All-Star. Also, Brady Oliveira is sticking with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. The 2023 CFL rushing leader agreed to terms on a 2-year contract extension with the Blue Bombers. The 26-year-old Winnipeg native was eligible to become a free agent next week. The Toronto Raptors' Scotty Barnes has been named an All-Star for the first time in his 3-year NBA career. The 6'7" Barnes has been named one of 2 injury replacements at the Eastern Conference team for the upcoming All-Star game. The Canadian Press sports reporter John Chidley Hill says the move is more than just a big deal for Barnes, it's also a matter of prestige for the Raptors.
Obviously, there's been a lot of trades involving the Toronto Raptors as they retool, looking ahead. So I think this is a big honor because it shows that Scotty Barnes is headed in the right direction and that the team is headed in the right direction.
The Edmonton Oilers are looking to make history tonight as they go for their 17th consecutive win. The Oilers will also try to tie the all-time consecutive wins record against defending Stanley Cup champion Vegas at 7 o'clock Pacific time. Goaltender Stuart Skinner spoke about the team's chemistry during their streak.
I think the way we're moving right now and our character and the guys that we have in the room, I think we're showing that we have a lot of character.
Brock Purdy went overtime on Super Bowl opening night. The San Francisco 49ers' second-year quarterback began by saying he's ready to spoil Taylor Swift's trip to Las Vegas. Purdy knows how difficult it is to get a Super Bowl and doesn't want to squander this opportunity.
It doesn't come around often. You can ask Trent Williams. He's playing in his 14th year, and this is his first Super Bowl. So for me, I understand it is not easy to get here. And so more than anything, I'm very grateful for the organization that I'm playing for, the team that I have around me. And so when you get an opportunity like this, it's, hey, let's make the most of it.
And that was your 3:30 newscast for today. Thanks for tuning in. This is Joseph Augusti signing off for BCIT's The Crow.
Stay tuned for more on BCIT's 1680 The Crow.
Everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at, a really rapid rate, the lower mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika Sikakane.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Theresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Tretanero.
And I'm Radhika Sikakane. Thank you for tuning in to BCIT Magazine.